Gun sales are down. Not crashing, but down. June of this year, the FBI ran about 1.89 million background checks. That's slightly under June of last year. So here's the part that doesn't add up. In that same month, NFA checks jumped 177%, 60,000 last June, over 166,000 this June. Same country, same buyers, fewer guns, way more paperwork. The reason is one line buried in a tax bill. Starting January 1st of this year, the $200 federal tax stamp on suppressors, short-barreled rifles, and any other weapons went to zero. Not cheaper, zero. And ATF is now approving a lot of individual Form 4s in under 2 weeks. That changed what people walk out of the store with. $200 used to be the toll booth that kept normal buyers on the normal side of the line. The toll booth is gone. So this list isn't 10 guns I think are cool, it's 10 new guns ranked by how hard they lean into the world that tax cut created, and whether they're actually worth your money in it. Number 1 is the gun that quietly made a whole product category pointless. Number 10. Beretta Titan. Let's start with the one you can't have. Beretta turned 500 years old, and instead of a commemorative shotgun, they built a semi-auto sporting rifle in 6.5 Grendel with a titanium upper receiver, a magnesium lower, carbon fiber stock and forend, and a forged carbon pistol grip. Short-stroke piston with an adjustable valve, 2-stage trigger, Steiner glass on top. It's a one-off, single unit, no MSRP, no production run, and Beretta says it's the first of 10 one-offs they're building. So why open with it? Because it tells you where the money is going at the top of the market. Nobody spends that kind of engineering on a direct impingement AR-15 clone anymore. Piston, adjustable gas, exotic materials to cut weight, those are suppressor-era priorities, and Beretta is signaling them on a rifle they'll never sell you. It's a trophy, not a product. Lowest spot on the list because it can't affect your safe, but it's the clearest look at what premium means now. Number 9. Meligan MG22. Now the opposite end. A fixed-blade knife with a 6-shot 22 LR revolver built into the handle, 12 inches overall, 6.7-inch blade in hardened 440C, a 3.5-inch rifled barrel, 420 stainless frame, 70/75 aluminum grip panels, manual trigger, manual safety. Base price is $1499.95, and you can spec knurling, a black oxide blade, or engraving. Here's where I need to correct something that gets repeated constantly about this thing. Yes, it's classified as an any other weapon. No, that does not mean no paperwork. AOWs have always been registered NFA items. The old tax was $5 instead of $200, and as of this year that tax is zero like the rest. But you still file the form, still get fingerprinted, still get registered, and it still has to move through a Class 3 dealer. Free is not the same as unregulated. As a weapon, it's worse than either a knife or a pocket 22. As a legal artifact, it's the perfect example of what happens when the tax disappears and only the friction is left. Buy it because it's fascinating. Don't buy it because you think it solves a problem. Number 8. The Over-Under G2 Contender. This one's a custom build, and it's genuinely one of a kind. It's a double-barrel pistol on the Thompson Center G2 Contender action. 17 HMR up top. 17 Winchester Super Magnum underneath. 2 different rimfire cartridges in a single break action. The clever part is the trigger group. The Contender already had a selector to switch between rimfire and centerfire firing pin positions, and the builder reworked it to select the top or bottom barrel instead. Flip it one way for HMR, the other for WSM. There's a dual extractor that pulls both cases at once, and the lower barrel has a regulator, so you can set where the 2 rounds converge at whatever distance you want. This is craftsmanship, not a market trend. It's here because it proves something the big manufacturers keep forgetting. The Contender platform still has room in it, and one guy with a mill found more of it than a corporate engineering department has in 20 years. You can't order one off a website. That's why it's 8th and not higher. Number 7. Adler RF224. Turkish-built semi-auto 22, and it looks nothing like a rimfire your grandpa owned. Aluminum chassis, M-lock handguard, flip-up sights, Picatinny rail, AR-style controls and stock interface, and it feeds from 10 or 25-round magazines depending on model. The tactical version wears a threaded barrel right around 11.7 inches. Weight lands near 4.5 to 5 pounds. That short threaded barrel is the whole pitch. Subsonic 22 through a can is about as quiet as shooting gets. And this is a purpose-built host for it at a budget price. The honest problem is availability. Adler's U.S. distribution has been thin and inconsistent, and a lot of the hands-on feedback out there comes from Canadian shooters. Reports also point to ammo pickiness and no bolt holdopen. Verdict? Right idea. Uncertain supply chain. Check that your dealer can actually get one before you fall in love with the spec sheet. Number 6. CVA Cascade Rimfire. CVA has been building budget centerfire bolt guns for a while. This year they scaled the Cascade down to 22 LR, and they made one decision that matters more than the rest. 18-inch barrel, threaded half by 28 from the factory. 10-round rotary magazine that takes standard 10-22 mags. Non-adjustable trigger that breaks around 3 pounds. 2-piece Picatinny rail included in the box. QD sling studs installed. 3 versions. Base gun with a gray polymer stock at $399. The XT with a fluted tungsten Cerakoted barrel and an OD green stock at $449. The classic in checkered walnut at $499. Do the math on the new rules: a $399 rifle, a threaded muzzle out of the box, a rimfire can, and a $0 tax stamp. 2 years ago, the tax alone was half the price of the rifle. That's not a small change. That's the entire budget shifting. Verdict: best dollar-for-dollar entry point on this entire list. If somebody asks me where to start in the suppressor game this year, this rifle is the answer, and it isn't close. Number 5. SIG 516 G3. SIG brought the 516 back, and the 3rd generation is a real rework rather than a paint job. 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel with a 1-in-7 twist. Short-stroke piston with an adjustable gas system. Non-reciprocating charging handle you can run from the rear or the side. Fully ambidextrous controls. Steel-reinforced hardware. Free-floated M-lock rail. SIG's Matchlight Duo trigger. 30-round magazine. The adjustable gas is the reason it's on this list. Every gas gun gets overpressured when you hang a can on it, and a piston with a tunable valve is the traditional fix. Price is where I'll push back a little. MSRP is $2179, and street has been running closer to $1,900 to $2,000. That's serious money for a 16-inch 5.56 rifle in a year where the interesting builds are all getting shorter. Excellent piston AR, slightly out of step with the moment. If you specifically want a rugged, tunable, full-length rifle, it's one of the best out there. If your plan involves a stamp and a short barrel, keep going down the list. Number 4. Shadow Systems E526. Shadow Systems built their name on Glock pattern pistols. This is their first rifle platform, and to their credit, they didn't just bolt together a parts bin. The E526 is an 11.5-inch 5.56 built around a hybrid profile, chrome-lined 4150 CMV barrel, a tuned gas system with a pinned military-grade gas block, a 2-stage duty trigger, ambidextrous controls, and their own Maelstrom flash hider with a suppressor mounting interface. Furniture and rail are in-house designs. The 16-inch version, the E526, is basically the same recipe stretched out. They picked 11.5 on purpose. It's the length where you keep most of your velocity while getting a genuinely handy gun. That's the right call. Now the number. MSRP is $2179, same as the SIG. And here's my problem with it. This is a company's first rifle, launching at Daniel Defense money. competing against a decade of established 11.5-inch builds. The engineering looks legitimate, and the barrel and gas choices are smart. The price assumes a reputation they haven't earned in rifles yet. Tell me in the comments if $2179 is defensible for a first-generation AR, because I go back and forth on it. KelTec KP50. KelTec's P50 was a weird gun with one genuinely annoying flaw. The KP50 fixes it. The old one loaded through a top-hinged P90-style magazine. The new one takes bottom-inserted, drop-free 50-round magazines. That's the entire difference between a novelty and a usable firearm. There's also an optional jungle clip that couples two 50-round mags back-to-back for 100 rounds on the gun. Run one dry, pull it, flip it, reinsert. Underneath, it's a fully machined lower using KelTec's proven SU-16 trigger group, a B5 grip, a non-reciprocating charging handle, a rear accessory mount for a folding brace, and a 9.6-inch barrel with a 1-in-7 twist in 5.7 by 28. 4 configurations: base pistol at $899, braced with 2 mags and the jungle clip at $1,099. A factory direct defender with a Vortex crossfire, M-bus sights, speed loader and case at $1,349, and a short-barreled rifle version at $1,099. That SBR line is the tell. KelTec is now cataloging an NFA variant alongside the pistol like it's a normal option. Because for the buyer, it now costs the same as the braced gun plus a form. 5.7 is supersonic and doesn't suppress especially well, so this isn't a quiet gun. It's here because 50 rounds on board, under 20 inches folded, around 4 pounds, is a real capability at $900. Third place. And it earned it. Number 2. KelTec SUB-SDP Nub Sub, same company, and this one is the value story of the year. They took the Sub 2000 folding carbine and cut it into a pistol. 6-inch barrel, integrated brace on a short extension tube, Glock pattern 9mm double stacks, 17.7 inches unfolded and 10 inches folded. 10. That's a gun that lives in a backpack, top rail for a red dot, and it still folds with the optic mounted. M-lock slots for a light, muzzle threaded 1/2x28. Standard model is $599 and ships with a Magpul 15-rounder, right around 3.5 pounds. The Defender at $799 adds a compensator, a front M-lock magazine holder, 2 27-round P-mags, and a Vortex Crossfire red dot, and it comes in near 4.25 pounds ready to run. Here's the honest limitation. A 6-inch blowback 9mm with a can on it is a gassy, loudish little gun, and the trigger is what Sub 2000 owners have always complained about. This is not a precision instrument. For $600, you get a threaded, folding, optic-ready 9mm that takes the magazines you already own. Nothing else on this list delivers that much practical capability per dollar. If KelTec keeps them in stock, they won't stay in stock. Number 1. Smith Wesson M&P15 AXE in 300 Blackout. And here's the gun that made the point better than anything else this year. 8-inch, 5R rifled barrel with a 1-in-7.5 twist and a 5/8 by 24 threaded muzzle. 7-inch Midwest Industries M-lock handguard, enhanced bolt carrier group, Radian Raptor ambidextrous charging handle, ambi controls, 30-round magazine. The important part is the upper. It uses Gemtech's GVAC system, which adds an expansion chamber at the gas block that vents excess gas forward out of the muzzle instead of backward into your face. Anyone who has run a suppressed short barrel without a tuned gas system knows exactly why that matters. That's a factory answer to a problem shooters have been solving with adjustable gas blocks and buffer weights for years. Now the numbers that put it at number 1. The braced pistol version is $1479. The factory short-barreled rifle version, same 8-inch barrel, is $1499, and it ships with a Magpul CTR adjustable stock and folding sights, $20. That is the entire price difference between the workaround and the real thing. For 15 years, the braced pistol existed for one reason: People wanted a short rifle and didn't want to pay $200 and wait 9 months. Take away the tax. Cut the wait to days or a few weeks for a lot of individual filers, and the brace stops being a clever solution and starts being a compromise you're choosing on purpose. Verdict. The AXE is my number one because it's the first mainstream gun where the manufacturer priced the SBR and the pistol as equals and let the buyer decide. That's not a product launch, that's an industry admitting the rules changed. Look at the pattern across all 10. Threaded muzzles as standard equipment on a $399 rimfire. Adjustable and vented gas systems showing up on factory guns instead of the aftermarket. Barrel lengths shrinking to 11.5, then 9.6, then 8, then 6. SBR variants listed on spec sheets next to pistols at nearly identical prices. None of that is about panic buying. Background checks say people are buying fewer guns this year, not more. They're buying different guns and putting the money they used to hand the government into cans, glass, and shorter barrels. 2 caveats before you go spend anything. Suppressors are legal in 42 states and legal for hunting in 41, so your state law still controls what any of this means for you. And there's active litigation over whether NFA registration even survives without the tax that justified it, which means this whole landscape could look different a year from now. If I had one free stamp to use today, it'd go on the CVA at $399 with a rimfire can. Because that's the cheapest possible way to find out whether you actually like shooting suppressed. If I had a real budget, the AXE SBR, tell me which one you'd stamp first. And if you think the braced pistol still has a reason to exist in 2026, make the case. I'd genuinely like to hear it. Because right now I don't see one,